my sister was right there. I graduated from. Me and Ron both graduated together. And my sister was right there. I graduated from. Me and Ron both graduated together. And my sister was right there. I graduated from. Me and Ron both graduated together. And my sister was right there. I graduated from. Me and Ron both graduated together. And my sister was right there. I graduated from. Me and Ron both graduated together. And my sister was right there. I graduated from. Me and Ron both graduated together. And my sister was right there. I graduated from. Me and Ron both graduated together. And my sister was right there. I graduated from.
Welcome to this meeting. We did start our meeting at 2 today and started out with our invocation of pledge of allegiance. We ended a closed session, and we're out of closed session and open session. The next item on the agenda today is the approval of the February 13th, 2018 regular session minutes. You've had these minutes, so I entertain a motion to approve these minutes. Motion by Vice Chair Johnston.
Second.
Second by Todd Sutton. Any questions of these minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Discussion and adjustment to agenda, starting with Todd Sutton.
None, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Grant?
None, Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chair Johnston?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hall? Dr. Smith?
None, sir.
Mr. Johnson?
No adjustments.
No adjustments. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Johnson, second by Ronald Johnson. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Our next item on the agenda is special recognitions. This is actually my favorite part of the whole board meeting. Looking forward to this. I asked Ms. Roberts to come forward, and the floor is yours, Ms. Roberts.
I'm looking at the door because I'm looking for our special recognitions. But good afternoon, Mr. Wooten, Lady Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Renfro. We will start with our recognitions of champions through Mr. Brent Walston, our Director of Athletics. We're going to recognize an indoor track and field state champion, Carolina Classics All-Star Basketball Game participant, and then we'll also recognize Clayton High School Resource Officer Robbie Broughton. Mr. Walston?
While he's coming up, this boardroom is your boardroom, so if you want to take pictures, please come behind the board so you can get a nice face shot. And but this room is yours, so you can move around and take pictures as you see fit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Good afternoon. First on the agenda, we'd like to recognize Josh Faison. As Ms. Roberts said, Josh is a senior at Smithville-Selma High School. Josh won the North Carolina High School State Athletic Association 3A Indoor Track and Field State Championship in the shot put on Saturday, February 10th in Winston-Salem. Josh's winning throw of the shot was 50 feet 9 inches, which was 6 inches better than the second best throw. So Josh is a state champion from Smithville-Selma High School. Josh, congratulations. Josh said he hopes to go to a 4-year school to compete in track and field. Congratulations, Josh. Pete in track and field. Our next athlete we'd like to recognize. Congratulations, Josh. Tay is a senior basketball player at North Johnston High School. Tay has been selected to participate in track and field. Our next athlete, Carolina's Classic All-Star Girls Basketball game at Hoggard High School in Wilmington this Saturday, March 24th at 6 p.m. Tayana has signed to play basketball at Georgetown University in the fall. Tayana, congratulations. She's from North Johnston. The Carolinas Classic game matches the top seniors from North Carolina versus the top seniors from South Carolina. There's a girls' game and then a men's game. Congratulations, Tay. From North Carolina versus the top. And our last athletic recognition is a special one as well. Officer Broughton, thank you. The North Carolina High School Athletics Association this school year, 2018, the calendar year, has started selecting hometown heroes. And one of our own was selected as the Moe's Southwest Grill hometown hero from Clayton High School in January. Officer Robbie Broughton from Clayton High School was nominated and selected for serving as a role model in the Clayton High School community and making a difference in the lives of the students in school. Officer Broughton is a Clayton High School alum and has been the SRO at Clayton High School for 5 years. So in the first month of recognition of this, receiving this honor, Officer Broughton was one of the first. Congratulations.
They were buddies from kindergarten. Miss Lipscomb kicked their hair on through 4 years. And my son is out in California now, but they still maintain their contact. And his sister is my daughter. So, again, from Lipscomb's all the way.
Congratulations, Officer Broughton. Thank you. Thank you.
We congratulate all of our honorees thus far. And Ms. Watson is bringing in our character ed students. And we're always excited to have them with us as well. And I know that you have the narratives for our students. Our student from Cooper is not yet here. So we will start with Corinth Holders Elementary School, Katie McKeever. And Katie, if you'll join me at the podium.
Ms. Roberts, could I restate what the parents can do?
Yes,
You can mingle around the boardroom, come behind the board and take pictures of your student. Feel free to move anywhere you want to in the boardroom. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to 5th grade student Katie McKeever. She attends Corinth Holders Elementary School, where her principal is Dr. Chris Kennedy. And here is what they have to say about Katie. Without question, Katie McKeever deserves to be honored for her remarkable integrity. She is kind, honest, and friendly to students and staff. Katie is a student who stands up for what is right and constantly encourages others to do the same. She's an advocate for showing this character, even through adversity. More than once this year, Katie has chosen to work with other students who have been difficult to befriend. She has sincerely invites others to be her partner and celebrated their differences as she mentors them gently. Katie is unwavering in her belief that all people should be treated with respect, and even when she makes a mistake, she owns it responsibly. As Katie continues to move forward beyond our school, there is no doubt that she will carry with her a heart with passion for being true to herself, keeping constant vigil over what is right regardless of what others are doing. And Katie told me she's a little bit nervous, but I submit to you, Katie, that if you continue doing what you are doing, that your nerves you will become calm throughout the rest of your life. So thank you for what you have done in showing your remarkable character. And ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Katie McKeever. Katie, we'd like for you to accept a gift, a small gift of our appreciation, if you'll come back, because we want everyone to see you. We're live streaming, so we want our community to see you. We're very proud of you. We'd like for you to accept a pair of headphones, as well as our certificates, and we actually need to get you to sign them, Mr. Wooten and Dr. Renfro. But there is your certificate. So we certainly appreciate you, and keep up the good work. Family. I failed to share with you that our character trait this month is integrity. Our next student comes to us from Corinth Holders High School, Stella Blackwell. Hi, Stella. Let me tell you a bit about Stella. Her parents are Stephen and Dawn Blackwell, and her principal is Mr. Robert Daniels. They give me a definition here for integrity: the qualification of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. It's generally a personal choice to hold oneself to consistent moral and ethical standards. The root of integrity means whole or undivided, and that's a terrific way to help one understand what integrity is: an undivided life. For example, a person won't act one way in one situation and another in a different situation. Stella is the embodiment of this definition of integrity. One example that was shared with me, with her principal, to illustrate her high level of integrity and character is as follows. As part of a discussion in Stella's English class, the topic of student cheating arose. The entire class was asked to raise their hand if they have never cheated on a test. Stella was one of 2 students who raised her hand. Also, Stella is a member of our chapter of the National Honor Society, which is an organization founded on 4 pillars: scholarship, leadership, service, and character. One character trait that is considered when determining membership is integrity. Students and faculty alike know Stella is trustworthy and honest. She adheres to a code of strong moral and ethical principles as evidenced simply by the way she lives her life. And by raising her hand, we know that as people, we always learn from our lessons, and that makes us a better person. So Stella, thank you so much for showing integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to you, Stella Blackwell. Thank you. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Stella, we hope you'll enjoy these Johnston County Public Schools headphones, and your certificate is being signed. Congratulations. We're so very proud of you. Thank you.
Ms. Roberts, where's Stella planning on going to college?
I am going to the U.S. Naval Academy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. next student is Tiara Everett from Dixon Road Elementary School. Did I pronounce it right, Tiara? Tiara. I always like to be corrected because we never know, right? Tiara Everett from Dixon Road Elementary. Tiara attends Dixon Road, where Principal Kenneth Bennett is the lead learner. Her parents are Erica and Timmy Everett. And here is what they have to say about Tiara. Dixon Road Elementary's fifth grader, Tiara Everett, has integrity. Tiara respects her classmates, treats them fairly, and is a team player. She does her share of work on group projects and admits to her mistakes. As a peer helper, she builds positive relationships by listening, including, and helping others. Tiara has assisted, mentored, and volunteered to eat lunch with solitary students for the past 2 years. Tiara Everett is a kind-hearted student who refuses to gossip and is truthful in her actions. Ladies and gentlemen, Tiara Everett. Tiara, we are so proud of you, and please accept these as small tokens of our appreciation. Godspeed. Our next student comes to us from Johnston County Career and Technical Leadership Academy, Kendall Foy. Not here? Okay. Let me make sure I have my, all right. Then we'll move on to Johnston County Early College Academy, where Alexis Killen is the student being recognized today. Come join me, Alexis. Alexis is an 11th grade student at Johnston County Early College Academy, where Clint Eves is the principal. Her parents are Henrietta Killen and Alexander Killen. Alexis is always forthright and honest in her dealings with her peers as well as her elders. She's not afraid to stand up for her beliefs and to model for her peers how to deal with difficult situations with empathy and integrity. Alexis is the chair of the Ambassadors Club and is currently working to bring hygiene supplies to females around the world. She also leads the charge to supply goodie bags for Duke Children's Hospital. Alexis also works as a peer tutor for JCECA, the early college, and always lends a helping hand to anyone in need to both her college and honors high school classes. Over the 3 years that Alexis has been a part of the early college, she has grown in terms of becoming a self-advocate as well as a growth mindset-oriented student who never turns down a challenge, either academically or personally. She is very reflective in terms of recognizing her areas of needed improvement, as well as charting her strengths, and is able to modestly celebrate her successes. I think Alexis has been here before. Old soul, maybe. Ladies and gentlemen, Alexis Killen. That's Hey, we'll get it. That's okay. That's all right. Alexis, please accept these as a small token of our appreciation, and we wish you the very best of successes. You're welcome. We have one last student, ladies and gentlemen. Last but not least is Brianna Diaz from Cooper Academy. Brianna, if you'll join me. Hello. Brianna attends Cooper Academy, where Joselle Flores is the lead learner. Her parents are Rodrigo and Lorena Diaz. And here's what they have to say about Brianna. Brianna is a trustworthy and model student. She always does her work to the best of her ability and is helpful to everyone at Cooper. Brianna follows every rule, and she is a leader in the classroom. She can be trusted with any responsibility in the classroom, and she takes the initiative to problem solve. She is loved and adored by Cooper students and staff and approaches each day with a happy and determined heart. If Brianna was in the dictionary, integrity would be right by her name. Brianna is truly a joy and serves as a remarkable example to others in all that she does. She is highly respected as a teacher helper and is a loyal and honest friend to others. She starts each day with a bright smile and an eagerness to learn. She always makes great choices and enjoys making others feel special. She is thoughtful, kind, responsible, and holds herself to high standards. Cooper Academy is honored to recognize this stellar student. Ladies and gentlemen, Brianna Diaz. Brianna, please accept this small gift as an appreciation for what you do each and every day at Cooper Academy and to help make this world a better place. Brian Vetrano will now bring us our Employees of the Month.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. While we're members, I know that you know, but we are live streaming, so I always like to take a moment to remind all of our employees and visitors that come out to our schools, volunteers, community members, anyone can nominate an Employee of the Month. There's information on our website. We have wonderful employees, and we certainly like to take time to recognize them. So if there's someone out there that you would like to see recognized, please nominate them. We have a committee which meets every month, and they determine who our Employees of the Month are. So I just wanted to take a moment to remind us of that process that we have in place. Our classified Employee of the Month is Mr. Dewey Baker. If Mr. Baker will please come and join me to my right. Mr. Baker serves as the General Services Foreman at Facility Services. He was nominated by several employees, so more than one individual can nominate someone for Employee of the Month. So what I've done is I've taken all of the statements and I've tried to combine it into one summary for you all. These employees shared that every time someone needs anything done, Dewey's name is the first name mentioned. He works hard and is willing to contribute in any way that will benefit students. Dewey always has a servant attitude, and this attitude has a domino effect on all of his team. They jump right in and get the job done without complaint or hesitation. One person shared that when moving from the mobile unit to the A.G. Glenn building, she needed to bring all of the shelving items with her, but just could not make it work. She shares that Dewey came to her rescue, looked it over, came back the following morning with a solution and how to fit all of her shelving into her new workspace. She says it was a brilliant idea and it has worked wonderfully since. He goes over and beyond what he has to do each day because that's just who he is. Mr. Baker, we appreciate what you do. Congratulations for being our Classified Employee of the Month. And if you'll walk around. And a few more goodies for you, a certificate, keychain, and a gift card. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Our Certified Employee of the Month is Ms. Kelly Davis. Ms. Davis, you can come join me. Ms. Davis serves as the media coordinator at Polenta Elementary. She was nominated as Employee of the Month by some parents. The parents shared that Ms. Davis is dedicated to the students at Polenta Elementary and works hard to make it a great place to learn. Not only does she do an outstanding job as our media coordinator, she has also taken on the Battle of the Books and Science Olympiad teams under her wing. In addition to the school year duties, she has weekly checkouts during the summer months and surprise visitor readers on site to read. Ms. Davis is committed to writing grants, and most recently, she was a recipient of the Bright Ideas Grant. She used the grant to purchase 3D printers and flexible seating in the Media Center. Just recently, Ms. Davis showed her love for students by going above and beyond the call of duty. She was informed during Science Olympiad practice that a parent encountered an unexpected emergency with another child and would be late for pickup. Ms. Davis immediately offered support by offering to provide dinner or doing whatever was needed to assist the family. This servant leadership continued throughout the night until the situation was resolved. Perfect example of the high quality of individuals that we have in our district. Thank you so much, and congratulations on being our Certified Employee of the Month. Ms. Davis, for you as well, certificate, keychain, and a gift card. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Roberts.
Because we normally recognize our student leaders who are part of the Superintendent's Advisory Council. So, did you want to just introduce yourself and tell what school you attend?
Hi, my name is Laura Vasquez, and I attend the Johnston County Early College Academy.
Thank you for being here, Laura. That concludes our special recognition. I will give a couple minutes for those who would like to file out and leave and take pictures. So we'll hold off the meeting for a couple minutes for you to, those that want to leave can leave. But you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting. So. We have no public comments, so next on the agenda is comments from the board members and chairman, starting with Todd Sutton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a great day to be here. A lot of different items over the past month, but I'm going to cut it down to a couple. That Read Across America was a great time at numerous different schools across the county. The Four Oaks Elementary breakfast that most of us participated in was a great opportunity to see the kids come through and smile and just welcome them to school on that morning right before they head into class. And then just last weekend, we celebrated another Showcase of Stars, Johnston County Ed Foundation, and Duke Energy. So it was a great success. I think we got a lot of talented students across this county. But I think what's on everybody's heart is safety. And I just want to commend Dr. Renfro and staff and everyone involved of putting the students and staff first and making sure they're safe on a daily basis. This hits home to me as well. Every morning, I have a wife that's a teacher in Johnston County Public Schools, and I have a daughter that's in the 7th grade. So I know exactly what every parent feels every day when they kiss their children goodbye or their wife or husband. They want them to come back home, and I'm in the same boat. So I appreciate everything Johnston County Public Schools is doing and commend us on being on the forefront of this safety that we're taking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. Ms. Grant?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been a very busy month. As Todd said, Reading Across America was wonderful. Served breakfast at Four Oaks and McGee's Elementary, and to see the kids thank you when they get breakfast in the morning is a real treat. Went to West Smithville Elementary. They had a biomes project there that was just totally amazing. I hope everybody made it over. There are no words to express how great a job those children did. Had the opportunity to visit Cleveland High School. They had a student safety town hall, and the students presented some safety concerns, issues, and even some solutions. It was very organized. The kids did a great job, and was thankful to participate in that. McGee's Elementary had a Latino night. That cafeteria was just filled with parents and siblings and lots of good food and an amazing event. The Employee of the Year banquet recognizing some of our wonderful employees, and I have to say the West Johnston High School jazz band was amazing. And then the JOCO Teen Drivers Luncheon today, to listen to those students share the things that they're doing to help their peers think about driving safety, and because we want those children not only to be safe at school, but also when they're out and about on the roads. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Vice Chair Johnston?
Jackie?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Johnson. I got it.
I will never do this right. Let me just say this, that I've had a wonderful month since our last meeting, but there are two things I want to mention, and that is South Smithfield Elementary. I got an opportunity to go there and spend practically the whole morning, looked like, and thank goodness I wasn't the only one there. Dr. Smith was there as well. And to see the youngsters portray people of the past, it was just outstanding. And they were dressed accordingly to what those individuals they were portraying were during that time. And it was just outstanding. And they had to memorize their presentation. A few of them read them, but they learned and they memorized, and they could tell you everything about that person. So I got a chance to see them. They had, I think they did Obama, they did Jackie Robinson, a bunch of people that have done some distinguished things in their lifetime. So I just want to say that it was good, and I wish they could repeat it again, because they put a lot of effort, and they had written essays on it. And that, so they were learning two different ways. They wrote it out, and then they also got a chance to regurgitate it. They bring it back up again. So I wanted to mention that. And the other thing I want to mention is that, as our chairman said earlier, we've had a lot of calls coming in about school safety. I've received a lot of calls and a lot of emails on school safety. And I would like to say that Johnston County Schools is ahead of the game. We're out there and we're doing things to let people know that we're working on this, and that we've already started some things that needs to be told to the public, and people need to know what we're already doing, because people are afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to come in here because you never know what could happen. So I'm saying to you is this: we need to spread the word and let people know, and I know Ms. Roberts is doing a great job. But the ordeal at West Johnston, I was a nervous wreck that whole day, because I'm watching it on TV and then I'm getting calls. So it's something you didn't have to go through when you were in school, when we were in school. And to see those youngsters file out of that school, I'm not going to say much more because I start crying. But it just hit me really, really hard. I just want you to know that we need to continue what we're doing and let people know what we're doing, and assure parents that what we're doing, and let them know. As a matter of fact, I got an email, and I responded to it, and I called the school. I didn't tell Dr. Renfro about this. He probably know. But I had to call the school because the mother was very upset. And she hadn't read her mail. The principal had emailed everything to all of them, and she had it written down. And the mother did not know because she had not followed through what the principal was trying to do, is let her know. And this was out in Clayton. So we need to keep the people aware, updated on what we're doing at all times as to school safety, because it's not a good feeling, and you want people to know. That's what I have to. Thank you.
Thanks, Vice Chair Johnson. Butler Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Enjoyed being at Four Oaks Elementary, doing breakfast with all those young guys, girls. That was really neat. I also I was really impressed with the Baum's exhibition at West Smithfield. That was an amazing thing to see what those students had done to create those exhibits. Was at Glendale Kenley with them as they were kicking off an effort to bring their communities together to make Glendale Kenley truly a community school. That was really impressive, and I was really glad to be there and to see their efforts. Was at the JOCO Teen Driver Luncheon today with several others, and that's always an impressive affair. I guess probably the thing I got the biggest kick out of was being at Riverdale for the reading, although I was late. Ms. Hudson, I think she just put a second grade class on reserve. But it was so neat being with those second graders, and I met the patchwork elephant, what's his name, Elmer or something. But those little boys and girls, it was just really, really neat to be with them. Had some really good visits over the area since the last board meeting. I made a stop at North Johnston High School for lots of reasons. A lot of really good things happened there for me. But to see them trying their best to make sure that the doors are covered and manned to make the place as safe as possible for students. And it is a primary concern of all of us, is to make sure that our students are safe. And people are asked to do some things that they're really maybe not comfortable doing, or had rather be doing something else, but they're doing what they have to do to make sure that our students are safe. And we just need to give them all the support that we can, and all the pats on the back and commendations for the efforts that our schools are putting forth to make sure that our students are safe. I just commend them for all they do, and we should commend them. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Dr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too enjoyed the JOCO team drivers for lunch today. Mr. Reese, Ricky Reese, and Deputy Commissioner of Insurance Michelle Osborne were touching our hearts and our minds, as Mr. Reese had lost a son and Deputy Osborne had lost a best friend. And our JOCO team drivers clubs are just phenomenal. They do such good work, and I believe should be credited with the reduced number of fatalities in Johnston County. I'd also like to thank all the speakers who came to the policy committee last Thursday. They had wonderful ideas. They were passionate. They too care about the entire district, not just about their school or their children. They were willing to do everything from district-wide fundraisers to manning doors. They just were passionate about how they could help. Showcase of Stars put grant funds together. We've distributed our last set of grants for this year, and that showcase was that ticket to those grants. I loved serving breakfast with the rest of the board at Four Oaks Elementary. West Smithfield Biomes, as Ms. Grant and Mr. Hall said, was phenomenal. It was just beyond words. Ms. Johnston mentioned the South Smithfield Wax Museum. I'd seen lots of wax museums before, but I'd never seen one like that. It was outstanding. I also, on that very same day, saw Dr. Renfro do an outstanding presentation to our Board of Commissioners. I don't know that people know the extent to which he goes to help our district grow and to present data and facts and needs that really would make you proud to be there and witness his advocacy for every child and every teacher and every parent in this district. The Superstar Teachers done by the Smithfield Area Chamber of Commerce always gives me cold chills to hear the things that those people do, everything from adopting children to being in 5 or 6 sponsors of 5 or 6 different activities in addition to teaching. They're just really superstars. Read Across America, as several of you have mentioned, was just spectacular, reading to all the children. Even today I read to a class. That just warms your heart to see the future. Battle of the Books, I must mention because they're coming next month. 2 teams for the first time in history went over 300 points, and they kept tying and kept tying and kept tying. I don't even know who won because it was such tough competition. And then the Employees of the Year, these people are, again, just excellent examples of the kinds of employees we have in our district. Their picture flashes here, and they are just those that were the Employees of the Year, but all of those people there were exceptional and are credits to their schools, and I appreciate the principals who recognized them and sent their nominations. So a good month. We'll have a shorter month this time, so we won't talk as much, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Since there's nothing left, Ron, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, to touch on what some of the other board members talked about with West Johnston, it was a very trying time for us, but I'd like to commend everyone involved, senior leadership, students, staff, and teachers. It was a very scary time for all of us, but we did what we were supposed to do, and now we need to learn from that incident. You know, I was a school resource officer for 5 years. I've been a police officer now for 13 years. Our children are our most precious asset, and they are so unable to protect themselves. The real hero out of all the people that we mentioned that we forgot. Adrian Stone, a deputy with the sheriff's office, who went to stop 7 people from coming in our school by herself, alone. We've had asked some extra duties from teachers, but you didn't sign up. You didn't sign up to do that. We need to advocate for school resource officers in every single school in Johnston County. They're the ones who sign up for it. They're the ones responsible for this, and they want to do that job. I got a call from a very close friend who is a teacher at West Johnston, and she said, Ron, I had my boys in the class barricade the door. I was there, and I was ready to protect those children if it cost me my life. It's admirable, beyond admirable, that they're willing to do that, but they shouldn't have to think that way. We need to protect them. We owe it to them to protect them. Speaking of West Johnston, I'm very honored to be an honoree at their community awards dinner and to be a judge for them at Mr. West Johnston. They always put on a great performance, great students, great faculty. I'm also looking forward to being the special guest speaker at Triple S this coming Thursday night for their National Honor Society. And, lastly, Read Across America. I could not get to every school that called, and I sincerely apologize, but next year I will definitely make it. I found myself reading 4 and 5 times in one day based on the calls, and I promise you I will. If I didn't make it this year, I will make it next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I'd like to commend this board for their network out in Johnston County and what they do for public education and, being able to be out in the schools and be the eyes and ears of what's going on in the classrooms and the hallways and the offices and the playgrounds is vitally important as serving as a board member. I also like to commend this board for their persistence on safety and security in our schools. I mean, you can look at the media just about every day. There's something going on somewhere in the United States of America that's concerning. I also kiss a wife and child and release them to the public school system each and every day. And when you serve in this capacity in Johnston County, they're all my students and they're all my teachers, and I feel like I'm responsible. I'd like to commend Dr. Renfro and his engagement with the county commissioners, and you will hear a list of items that we're doing in Johnston County for safety and security that's been pushed to the top of the list of our priorities here in Johnston County. His senior staff, these board members, have made safety and security the main priority in this county. Students can't learn and teachers can't teach if they don't feel safe, and we're going to make sure they are. I appreciate everything these board members do, and I appreciate the senior staff. I appreciate the administrators in the campuses of our schools. I appreciate the teachers that's going over and beyond their call of duty to monitor doors and hallways to make sure our classrooms are safe. God bless you, and I appreciate everything that you do. With that being said, I'll turn it over to Dr. Renfro. Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson.
Are we going to recognize Jimmy and Tracy for being here with us today?
Yes. You can go ahead and do that if you like.
Ms. Tracy Zukowski is in attendance with us today. She is a candidate for the Johnston County Board of Education. Thank you for being here, Ms. Zukowski. And Mr. Clapp, also a candidate for Johnston County Board of Education. Thank you for being here with us today.
We also appreciate all our guests that are here today as well. Dr. Renfro.
Mr. Chairman, this time I'll ask that our board approve consent items 9A1A through 9A1K.
You heard the superintendent. You've had a chance to review these items. Entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion by Butler Hall, second by Ronald Johnson. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Price.
Is that better? Thank you. Bowman and Dill are two researchers who've majored in reframing organizations. They suggest that you look through the lens of 4 frameworks when reframing organization: structural, human resources, political, and symbolic frames. I would say that the structural frame is the easiest to address, the rules and the roles played by the people. I'd also say that the human resource framework is the next easiest to address, getting the right fit after declaring the rules and the roles, and then supporting the people with professional development. As a former principal, I'd say the most overlooked framework is the symbolic one. People over time lose their identity. They can lose their passion, their meaning, their why in organizations, and it becomes a job and not a calling. In fact, Bowman and Dill say that problems arise when actors play their parts badly, or when symbols lose their meaning, or when ceremonies and rituals lose their potency. It's a job of the leader to rally the troops, to rekindle that passion through developing the identity. They go on to say that many ideas in organizations never get put into place because the new insights often conflict with the established mental models. In my opinion, it will take all 4 frameworks to change the direction of Selma Middle. There are great people in that building, but it's obvious that we need to reframe the organization so that we can get better results. Now to the exhibit sheet. Selma Middle is undergoing a restart. In doing so, Selma Middle wishes to create an environment that is responsive to student needs. The new proposed mascot unifies the school with Selma's history and culture. The administrative team has utilized stakeholder surveys, one-on-one communication with alumni and business leaders, and staff and student surveys to inform the decision. In the following presentation, a proposal for a mascot is outlined. I'll call to the podium Mr. Germanowski, the principal at Selma Middle School.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Price. Thank you for having me. Appreciate the opportunity to share part of our journey. As Dr. Price said, this piece is one small part of the total piece. Restart is providing us the flexibility to facilitate a transformation for our students. Got the next slide? The slides up there? There we go. So, I think I missed one somewhere. Is there one before that? No? Okay. Maybe they're out of order. George Bernard, there we go. That's the one I thought was next. So we're focusing on our why, as Dr. Price said. We need to focus on our why, plan for our how, and our students are our why. Those are 4 students. They came with us to present to that planning committee. They're a part of our leadership team. We need to make a change to our pedagogy, the way we teach our students. We need to educate the whole child socially, emotionally, academically to meet their needs. You can flip back to the second slide with George Bernard Shaw. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. So again, as to reiterate what Dr. Price said, to truly have that sustained impact for our students, we need to be able to affect the perception. So how can we take this opportunity to restart to make a connection with our town and community to partner for the benefit of our students and this transformation? You can go to the next slide. So we met with varying stakeholder groups of parent advisory, staff, students, community members, key members of the past 25 years of the history of Selma Middle School. How could we connect the town and community with Restart flexibility? We'd use multiple surveys and conversations. We were led to the concept of the Rail Blazers. It is unique, just as our students and community. It's a combination of a connection of the railroad and blazing a new path of innovation for our students to be the future risk takers of our society. Next slide. We want to be able to honor the past and blaze a new path for our students to realize their dreams and desires of success. And last slide. I want to thank our design department, Magina Howell, Ms. Peden Jones, Ms. Roberts, for their talents in helping to come up with a design what we feel will help our students blaze that new path to success.
Mr. Board Chair, this is an action item.
This is an action item. Entertain a motion. Motion by Dr. Smith, second by Butler Hall. Any questions?
Yes. What is the cost going to be to do a redesign of your mascot?
There has not been a cost presented to me for that. We have been communicating with our Title I director about the possibilities. Right now, it would be a matter of painting over the existing murals in the building, which would be a very minimal cost.
Okay. And just before we get started, I'm going to request that we table this for a later date. However, I realize that is unlikely. But before we go into any further discussion, I'm going to request that we table it at this time until a later date.
You want to state why?
Sure, just some concerns from several people, and I do have some questions I can continue to ask if you'd like, Chairman.
Right. There is, for the sign out front, that cost is $3,000 to replace that.
And we're talking uniforms, we're talking paintings, we're talking a redesign of an entire school. So I would like to know the complete cost of this change in mascot and change of identity for Selma Middle School. And
Johnston, we do get a rotation of uniforms that takes care of the cost of new uniforms. So, but we will be glad to come back with a presentation of the cost of this.
Thank you. And, do you have any reportings or any findings from your school improvement team where they consulted, and how do they feel about this?
Yeah, we have the surveys. We went through the data, and so I would say that an overwhelming percentage of the people who responded were supportive. There are a few people who are not, and we understand that. As I said in the research, that when things change, often there are people who don't agree.
Certainly. Certainly. A couple things. Specifically, the school improvement team, I would like to know if they were consulted. And secondly, I did notice in the survey, and we do have some concern from some staff, some community members, and some students, that being a Viking was completely left off, that there was a determination made that they were going to change it. So that is also a concern I have, just receiving it this morning, that the Viking was left completely off. So there was no option to remain Selma Middle School Viking. And I went to Selma Middle School, and don't mistake this for some clinging to nostalgia. I mean, I'm certainly, if this will help the school, I'm all about it. But I want to be thorough in this when we're talking about spending thousands of dollars, because, I'm not an expert on what it'll cost, but if we start talking $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to change this, regardless of where the money comes from, I'm just not so sure now is the right time, given that we have all these safety and security needs. I've got a list of needs from staff and parents and students from Selma Middle School, or former students from Selma Middle School, that they would like to see taken care of before we discuss changing it. And I would ask that we table this. I mean, I'm not so sure what the timeline is, if we have a deadline, but I'm requesting that we hold off on this to a later date.
Mr. Germanowski, I wonder if you would share with the board what you shared with us about the people that you have consulted.
So we did multiple surveys. The initial survey was discussions informally with staff. We started way back at the beginning, and we posed the question, if we could make a better connection between our community and our school, would you be in favor of change for a mascot? And we did that with the parents, paper poll. We did it out on the board, please call the school. You could phone your answer in. We put them at ball games. Anytime a parent came in, we had that parent, the paper copy for them to answer the same question. Staff, students. We did a student poll. All students were polled, given options for what would you be in favor of if we weren't the Vikings. So people that were in favor, 40% yes, 40% plus yes, 20% no, 35% were indifferent. That 35% spoke volumes to us. So then we started meeting with key stakeholders, met with yourself, met with the first principal, met with the superintendent who built the school, met with the mayor, Jenny Moore, who was a teacher there the first year, became a principal there. Met with all those stakeholders to get their perception. There were some that were negative, but the ones that were negative, and I think I shared this with the planning committee, Ann, who's on the town council now, Ann Williams, came in. We met for an hour. We talked about 30 minutes about mascots and her views on what a mascot should be. And she was like, this is a mistake. And I said, I appreciate you letting me know that, because I tell everybody on a daily basis, I don't want everybody to agree with me. The only way we can act change is when we talk about things and work through them. So I appreciated her coming in and sharing her views with me. She wrote me a nice, lengthy email after that. I went back and I thought about it, and you know what? This could be a great opportunity, but we can't have some old steam engine. It's got to be something up to date. And what are the opportunities for taking kids down to the railroad? And how can we incorporate math down there and teaching them the history of Selma and how it was built? So we took those pieces and we looked at the two things that Selma was known for, the antiques and the railroad. And we try to wrap our brain around how the antique mecca could be something that would connect it. And we couldn't come up with anything. So then we moved towards the railroad. We asked the kids, what are some more ideas on what could a concept be? We got all kinds of great ideas. And we had the steam, we had the express, we had the conductors, and the railblazers came out of a student who had said trailblazers, another one had said rail something, and when they were in conjunction, they kind of went together. And if you look at the railblazers, I had a teacher bring this to my attention. She said, Mr. G, did you realize that if you look at the middle of that, where the L and the capital B is, it looks like a railroad? I was like, I didn't even realize that. That was really cool. So we did another survey, 550 participants online, students, staff, community. We reached out to everybody that could. Railblazers came out 65%. The other ones were in the teens. So we felt it was unique. When you ask about money, the sign out front was purchased with Title I funds. We were looking to use the parent involvement money to help redo that, okay? As a restart process, we recognize the need for physical change. Whether we're going to continue to be the Vikings or something else, there's a change needs to happen in the building. So whatever the change is, we've got to have a clean slate to put some things up there. We look to our student leadership committee to help us make those decisions. When it comes to other funding, when you talk about athletics, one of the things that I've listened to our staff talk about, past and current staff who coach, our kids go places and they see fields and they go, man, are we at an MLB ballpark? Are we at a major league ballpark? Are we somewhere else? Why don't we have these things? And our uniforms are sorely in need of repair or purchasing. So regardless of whether we continue with one or the other, we've come up with a 2-year rotation to reestablish those uniforms.
I also want you to talk about the timeline, because this is March and your restart starts.
Yes, ma'am. We're on a tight timeline, but you know, it is a small piece of the puzzle. But like Dr. Price said, you know, one of the 4 pillars is that perception, you know, that identity. And I think that the identity that we want to build is partnerships with the community. So I go back to the money piece, because money is always a big piece. You know, if we're looking at rebranding and painting in the building or put things up, how can we partner with the community to get them to come in and support us? And then once we have that support, can't they come in and help us in the classroom? And how can we get our students involved in what goes on the walls in the building to create that identity?
Well, I certainly admire where your heart and where your mind's at with this, but I would like to see the number of what it's going to cost. Also, in reality, and people are going to come up to all of us and say, changing a mascot is not going to raise your test scores. Changing your mascot is not going to get your parent involvement up. And I know that we've talked about, you know, the pedagogy and things of that nature, but there's no guarantees here. And I would like to see a cost affix to this before I personally proceed it. And like I said before, Mr. Germanowski, had a chance to walk around with you, thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, I admire where your heart and where your mind's at on this, but I would like to see some numbers, and I would like to hear from the student improvement team, or excuse me, the school improvement team and other ones. And to be honest with you, they feel like they were kind of left out of this. And I realize everybody had the opportunity to participate, but people in your community, and not all people, feel that there are other needs that need to be addressed. You know, like you said, your sports uniforms, your baseball fields, your scoreboards, things of that nature that they would like to see that they believe would increase morale, for lack of better words, in your school.
And I do want to say that when you came to the policy committee, you brought your leaders and your student leaders. It was not just you. It was a team effort.
Mr. Germanowski, first, I didn't mention you in the opening, so I don't want to say y'all had a great STEAM night, and what participation. I couldn't find a place to park, so that great community involvement. I think if I understood one of Ronald's questions, and I just want to make sure that I get the answer to this if we did, was there a choice given between the Railblazers and the Vikings?
Because the original poll was, if we could make a better connection, would you be open to it? So then we moved forward with what could that connection be? So on the final poll, we only had the 4 items, and it wasn't, this is what we're going to be. But if we were looking at something else that we're going to make a connection to the community, which of these 4 would you choose? That's why there wasn't a option for Vikings or fill in the blank.
Dr. Price, were you going to mention something?
No, sir. We'll be glad to come back to answer questions if that's the will of the board. I would like to say that we cannot minimize the symbolic identity, and I hear what Mr. Johnston's saying, but the last thing that he said was talking about the morale and how it's affected with scoreboards and uniforms, and that's what we're talking about. If you're going to have to buy those anyway, what's on that should be irrelevant right now to cost, because I wouldn't think that a Railblazer uniform would cost any more than a uniform that has a Viking on it. I don't want to minimize symbolism and identity, but I also want to say there is never going to be a change where there's 100% support. If we wait for that and table it, we will make no changes in this district. You know, I've looked over what Mr. Germanowski's done, and he has polled the people. I'm not sure how else we can poll people to get an answer, to get an idea. Like I said, regardless, we're not going to get everyone who is committed to this change. But if it's the will of the board that we table this, then so be it.
Any more questions? I think we have a motion on the table from Mr. Johnson. Is that motion still out there for Mr. Johnson to table it? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Teresa Grant. Any more questions? All those in favor? Yes, sir. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Put your hand up that's for tabling it. Those who oppose? Motion fails to be approved 4-2. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Smith, second by Butler Hall. All those in favor? Hand. All those opposed? Motion carries 4-2.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Price.
Mr. Gill.
Good afternoon, Chairman Wooten, Lady Vice Chair, members of the board, and Mr. Lawrence and Dr. Renfro. I have 7 items this afternoon. 4 of those are for action, and 3 of those are for information today. The first item is Board Exhibit 9C1, Construction Update. Construction continues on our projects utilizing our $30 million funded by our local government commission. The projects are moving according to schedule, and this update will detail some of our progress to date. So I'm going to turn it over for a video.
Hey everyone, 2018 is shaping up to be a good year for Johnston County Public Schools. As many of you already know, our LGC construction projects have been making our schools great environments for learning. For example, I'm here at our facility services in the HVAC Master Control Room. This room is important because it allows our energy management staff to control the air conditioning systems remotely at all of our schools from here. They just don't let anyone in this room. But hey, I might have some pool. One of our LGC projects is to upgrade the control systems at 5 of our schools, so now they can be controlled from here as well. This means faster service for our schools and less technician visits, not to mention the energy efficiency improvements that will save taxpayer dollars. Part of this project also included new temperature sensors, control valves, new insulation on chilled water piping, and so much more that was needed to provide a comfortable environment to our students and staff. It's amazing all of the things happening in our district. Here's another example of an exciting facility upgrade.
There are some interesting and exciting things happening at our school right now. We are putting a roof on the gym and on our older EF and G wing, and we are really excited about this opportunity. The new roof will allow us to make sure that we are not getting leaks when it rains like today. We are really excited about that. Prior to the roof being replaced, it wasn't uncommon for us to have buckets, trash cans to collect water as it dripped through in a few classrooms. And that's just not really conducive for student learning. The students, as soon as the fence went up, we started getting questions. Ms. Mitchell, what's happening outside at school? So we've had lots of questions from parents and from students, and I've had the opportunity to share with our stakeholders exactly what is happening at Selma Elementary. Students really respond to their environment, so it's really important that we have buildings that are well kept. Oh, I want to thank the Johnston County Board of Education. I want to thank our county commissioners. I want to thank Dr. Renfro for all the support in getting this construction project underway.
Man, I wonder what this button's for. Oh, hey, sorry. I just love seeing new innovative stuff being used in our facilities. As a matter of fact, here's a list of other construction projects happening in our district that I hope show we are committed to quality facilities for our students and staff. We want to once again thank the Johnston County Board of Education and County Commissioners for believing and investing in our students. We also want to thank all stakeholders for all your support for Johnston County Public Schools. Thank you all for all you do.
Hey, what are you doing in here?
And this is presented to you today for information. All right, my next item is Board Exhibit 9C2, Policy Code 5340, Teacher Contracts. Policy 5340 was last updated in June of 2004, and it's been updated to remove references to No Child Left Behind, as well as to incorporate recommendations regarding teacher contract renewal terms for beginning teachers and renewing teachers. This updated comprehensive policy addresses teacher performance expectations, superintendent's recommendations, determination of contract length, and the teacher dismissal and non-renewal process. The amended policy will clarify our processes and expectation and provide greater detail for our administrators and teachers with Johnston County Public Schools. Upon the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee, Policy 5340 is presented today for approval.
This is an action item, Policy Code 5340, teacher contracts. Entertain a motion. Motion by Teresa Grant, second by Vice Chair Johnson. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Our next item is Board Exhibit 9C3, Policy 1100, Board Member Opportunities for Development. Policy 1100 was updated on October 11th of 2016. The policy has been amended to include recommendations from the North Carolina School Boards Association, which includes updates to provide additional resources for training for our board members, as well as updated legal requirements for the number of hours and the frequency of the training. This updated policy will define and clarify our legal requirements for training for members of the Johnston County Board of Education. Upon the recommendation of Policy Review Committee, Policy 1100 is presented today for approval.
Policy Code 1100, Board Member Development. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ronald Johnson, seconded by Butler Hall. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
The next item is Board Exhibit 9C4, Policy Code 6500, School Bus Transportation. This policy was last updated in March of 2010, and it's been amended to incorporate some additional guidelines for school bus stops. Specific age requirements regarding which students must be accompanied to and from school bus stops, as well as additional information regarding parental responsibilities, have been incorporated into the policy. Additions and clarifications to this policy will help our administrators, our transportation personnel, parents, and students to understand their expectations at our school bus stop. It also promotes consistency within our public schools in regards to school bus stop practices. And upon the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee, Policy 6500 is recommended today for approval.
Policy Code 6500, School Bus Transportation. Entertain a motion. Motion by Dr. Smith, second by Butler Hall. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
The next item is Board Exhibit 9C5, a safety and security update. The district is taking steps to address access into our facilities within a 90-day timeline. The district is taking security steps in 3 clear phases. Phase 1 will be to outfit all of our schools with interior and exterior cameras. This phase will be installed and implemented by our Integrated Technology Department. Phase 2 will be to outfit each of our schools with front door controlled access units. A contractor will be working to install these in each of our schools. Finally, Phase 3 will be to outfit all remaining perimeter doors with key fobs and card swipe systems. Additionally, the district is submitting a grant for an additional 12 school resource officers. Also, badges for all substitute teachers are in process of completion to ensure all employees in our system are properly identified. Finally, all of our school emergency response plans are shared with key stakeholders in our municipalities in the event of an emergency. Currently, our operation directors and facility services staff are collaborating with principals to work through the logistics of these installations. And finally, in the interest of continued discussion of school safety, our Policy Review Committee has invited and seen several groups to discuss additional ideas and measures to consider for future planning. This item is presented today for information, and I will say that I'd like to commend our IT department, Integrated Technology, who has already installed 12 of the cabling and DVRs into our schools. They are working feverishly to get that done. Our contractor for our controlled access is also at our sites and has completed, I believe, 2 of those. And a later item I will bring to you today is our request for proposal and contract for our key fob card swipe systems.
Thank you, Ms. Gill. I think Dr. Renfro's got a couple items to share as well.
I was just going to add to Ms. Gill's presentation, and I apologize I had to step out. If you covered it, I don't mean to be redundant. Did you mention anything about the capacity to record incoming calls?
I did not, sir.
One of the features with our VIOP system is, a couple weeks ago, maybe it's been 3 weeks ago now, we had a bomb threat over at North Johnston Middle School. And so we have this feature in our current phone system that you can record incoming calls. And so Ms. Roberts and team is in the process of recording the message, making sure that we're doing everything per general statute, but we will start the process of recording incoming calls. An estimated time, Ms. Roberts, within the next month, within the next week. So another safety measure that we'll have in place that doesn't cost us anything because it's a feature that's already included in our current system. So just wanted to add that as well.
Thank you, Dr. Renfro. Any other comments?
Just a question. You mentioned each school's security plan, and you said they were shared with various stakeholders. Those are not public documents for obvious reasons. Is that correct?
Right. They are shared with within our REMS plan, and they are shared online, and they have an access code specifically for those folks who are in need to know of those crisis plans.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, ma'am.
Any more questions?
Ms. Gill, would you tell us about the cost of each of those phases?
Yes. The phase 1, which is our camera systems, will be in the neighborhood of about $130,000. Phase 2, which is our camera controlled access units, will be $75,000. And then our key fobs will border around $500,000. And then we do have to, after we get this initial installation done of the key fobs for the perimeter doors, we'll have to begin to investigate the card system for our high schools, which will include some printers that we'll have to get outfitted in each one of our high schools. So that will be a cost that will be incurred later. The SRO grant, I will defer to Mr. Price on the final figures, Dr. Price on the figures for that one as well. And we just do we've always over the past, I'd say probably decade, had the REMS plan, which is a contract cost we do each year.
And the rough numbers that we've been working from for the last 3 to 4 weeks was approximately $1.3 million. And in presentation to the county commissioners, when we made a presentation about bond a couple weeks ago, about the pending bond referendum, at that time we also presented these phases of safety and security needs, and the county commissioners said that they would front $70,000 to help us with phase 1, but I've not been in contact with Mr. Hester about any other contributions that they would make toward that $1.3 million. But again, we would build that into our local budget as the spring unfolds, and we would present that to them and hoping that they would shoulder the burden of funding that $1.3 million.
And the quicker we can get these projects done, the better, correct?
Well, I think our stakeholders demand that. It's really easy to sit on the sidelines and speculate about what needs to be done and what wants to be done, but if you're sending students to the public school system or anywhere, local churches are having conversations about what they can do on Wednesday nights and Sundays about making their facilities more secure and to eliminate the church off targets. So I think there's a sense of urgency from our parents, our teachers, our community members, our students, that we act sooner than later.
Thank you, Dr. Renfro. Ms. Gill?
This figure is based upon our ORAD data that we use to consult with, and it is based upon 95% capacity or higher. And the list that you have attached here will also give you some reasons why schools have been removed from the list. And most of that is based upon the opening of Swift Creek Middle in August of 2017. And I bring that to you today for approval.
It says information item. Is it approval? Is it an action item?
It is an action item. I apologize
This
for
is
that.
an action item, CAP schools list. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Todd Sutton, second by Dr. Smith. Any questions about the CAP list? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
The final item I have for you today is Board Exhibit 9C7, our key fob security contract approval. A request for proposal was initiated to gain bids regarding our need for key fob door security locks on our doors in the school district. The RFP provided all of the specifications that the district desired and the timelines to complete the project. This package was promoted through the media, and interested vendors were provided packets to complete a proposal for the project. The bids were closed on March 12th, 2018, and the bids have been reviewed to ensure that the bidders were responsible and had completed the packet upon entering the bid according to the specifications needed for the project. 4 vendors submitted bids, and the bid tabulation form is attached to the agenda. It is recommended that the contract to install key fob security be awarded to Seven Oaks Company out of Oakboro, North Carolina, which is located in Stanley County, and this is recommended for approval. Yes, sir?
Could I ask you to ask the board to approve the bid first, the lowest responsive bidder first?
Sure. Right, the wording should say bid rather than contract, yes, on the front of the exhibit sheet.
This is an action item. Entertain a motion to approve the bid. Motion by Teresa Grant, second by Vice Chair Johnston. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
And I would like to thank Facility Services team who have worked so very hard, and operations directors sitting down with us day after day and working so hard to get the logistics going and getting this happening, because this 90-day timeline that you see here on many of these projects that did not require board approval have already begun.
Well, let them know the board thanks them as well.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. I would like to recognize Mr. Lawrence.
Now that you've approved the bid for this, to allow us to go ahead and get a contract and present the chairman and the superintendent's signature once the final contract is.
Entertain a motion to go into contract with the key fobs. Motion by Ronald Johnson, second by Todd Sutton. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gill. We have recognized others and all our guests in the boardroom, but I would like to recognize our Teacher of the Year, Shannon Snipes, if she would like to stand up for 2017-18. Ms. Snipes, would you like to engage the board and speak, or do you just want to wave at us? Okay. We appreciate everything you do and appreciate you being here today. Mr. Petrano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Renfro. It seems like I have been up here several times this year talking about calendars, and I'm up here once again. I have 3 items for you this afternoon. All 3 are action items. The first item, Exhibit 9D1. This is the 2018-19 calendar proposal for Early College Academy and Career and Technical Leadership Academy. The Early College Academy and Career and Technical Leadership Academy have received a waiver from the calendar law. The waiver allows the school to begin and end on different dates than required by the law. The purpose of the waiver is to better align the high school and community calendars. This alignment is necessary due to students taking both high school and community college courses. After seeking input from certified and classified staff at these schools, the calendar is presented for your consideration and approval. And just so you know, the required work days, as we do with the traditional calendars, those will be designated prior to us posting this on the website.
This is an action item, 2018-2019 calendar for academy schools. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Johnston, second by Teresa Grant. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. The next item, Exhibit 9D2, also an action item, 2018-2019 calendar proposal for Restart Schools. The State Board of Education has approved for Benson Elementary, Benson Middle, Cooper Academy, North Johnston Middle, Selma Middle, and West Smithfield Elementary to operate under certain charter-like school provisions. As such, these schools have the flexibility to create calendars that allow for more innovative learning opportunities. And even though they have that flexibility, we have reviewed all of these calendars, and they all still meet the legal requirements. They contain a 215-day calendar for 10-month employees. After seeking input from certified and classified staff at these schools, the attached calendars are presented for your consideration and approval. And I've listed them separately there on the agenda, but be glad to answer any questions about any of those. And I apologize in advance for, they were sent to us in PDF, and a couple, there's some formatting issues, and a couple of the numbers next to quarters need to be corrected. But before we put those on the web, we work so carefully with Ms. Roberts' Department of Communication and Engagement, and they will get those in the nice format that we normally present to our public, and then after it's approved, of course, and those will be placed on our website.
I just have one question. Do you call for a motion first? Okay.
Entertain a motion for 2018-19 calendar for Restart Schools.
So moved.
Motion by Ronald Johnson, second by Butler Hall. Questions?
Mr. Vetrano, in the Smithfield-Selma feeder pattern, does that include Wilson's Mills and Smithfield Middle, or just the Restart Schools?
It does include the Smithfield feeder schools, which would encompass those schools that
all
you mentioned.
Smithfield area
yes,
schools.
Ma'am.
Very good,
and
thank you.
We're presenting them as a Restart calendars, but as I mentioned, they still meet the calendar laws, even though they have the flexibility. And there's such a community environment within the Smithfield schools, they felt that it would be best because of parents who may have students attending the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school to have a calendar that would be convenient for those parents.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mr. Vetrano,
yes, sir.
I know last year or this year, North Johnston Middle School is getting out early on Fridays. Under this new calendar, it looks to me that they're going to be going a full day on Friday. Is that correct?
That is correct. After evaluating the calendar that currently exists for that school, they decided that they wanted to change their schedule to not get out early on Friday for the professional development. And Dr. Price may have some additional comments.
That they were looking to align with their feeder pattern in regards to professional development so that they could have a vertical alignment. And in order to do that, they had to rearrange their workdays to mirror what the rest of the feeder pattern was doing as well. But the staff agreed with that logic and rationale, and so that's why it also allows them to have a later start time in the middle and high school that they haven't had, to somewhat pilot the research that we're looking at to see if it would have an impact on their environment and culture.
Yeah, because I just noticed Cooper was keeping theirs, and
that is correct.
I heard some chatter at North Johnston Middle School, being my wife teaches there, but I just want to make sure I was correct on that.
Yes, sir, you are. Thank you.
Cooper has worked out. They had it was difficult to at the beginning of the year with the early release to get the early and after school care worked out with the third-party providers, and because they have a lot of kids who take advantage of early and after-school care, and so they have ironed those things out and have found that Friday support from central office is providing them with the professional development support that they need.
Any more questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. The last item, Mr. Chairman, Exhibit 9D3, revised school calendars, and I do hope this is the last time this school year I have to come and revise our current school year calendars. As a result of the Student Employee Day missed due to the inclement weather on March 13th, the 2017-18 school calendars for the traditional year-round Restart and Academy schools need to be revised in order to meet general statute requirements. March 13th has been coded as a non-day on all of these calendars, and a work day has been added to the end of the calendar for each of these calendars so that we still meet the 215-day requirement. So this is recommended to you as an action item.
Entertain a motion. Motion by Teresa Grant, second by Butler Hall. Any questions? Dr. Smith?
I am so sorry. I just have to ask about drivers only. We now have missed 7 days, and those people have lost 7 days of pay while teachers continue to get paid for off days. I don't know about other classified staff, but I live with one of those, and he asked me about it. Make sure I covered that with making everybody aware and seeing if there's a plan to help them.
Yes, ma'am. For other classified employees, teacher assistants, we have been allowing them, and child nutrition as well on occasion, to come in and work some other work days. And so I'm sure that we will communicate with transportation to see what options might be available for bus driver onlys. Yes, ma'am.
Any more questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Vetrano.
Thank you.
I would like to say, I failed to mention in safety and security while we're in between, I think Ms. Roberts is coming up, or maybe.
She's going to be able to navigate from right there, sir.
But we have decisions to make all the time during, well, we don't have decisions to make, the superintendent does, as far as inclement weather. And whether we err in the canceling school or causing a 3-hour delay, whether we're right or wrong, we always err on the side of safety. So even if the sun's shining, we can't always anticipate what Mother Nature and what God's going to do. So I appreciate the superintendent and the senior staff for riding around the county 24/7 to see if we're safe, getting kids that are out of school home safely and our bus drivers home safely. So whatever decision is made, Dr. Renfro, you're 100% supported by the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. You've noticed that the cabinet has been up and down throughout the meeting, checking the latest weather reports from the National Weather Service, DOT reports, Highway Patrol, and our own Johnston County Emergency Management. So before we break camp and head home tonight, by 8 or 9, we hope to have a good idea that, yes, we will be able to have school tomorrow, or let's not even think about what the alternative is. Ms. Roberts.
Mr. Wooten, we'll just save you some time. Your information for the dates are listed there on the screen, but you also have hard copies of your Save the Date and in the news.
Thank you for that information. And also with the Johnston County Planning Board documents, they're actually having a meeting just about as we speak, but I can go ahead and tell you there's 4 or 5 subdivisions on the docket to be approved, and we continue to grow as a county. We're blessed to live in a county that is growing, and it brings forth challenges, but we're willing to tackle those challenges. And but they are approving residential lots each and every month, and which requires additional classroom space for our students. So as you engage our county commissioners, please let them know that we're growing and our school system needs to grow as well. So Thank everyone for engaging them and making sure that we're creating good learning environments for our students.
We do have one other event. Saturday night is our Athletic Hall of Fame, and we all are looking forward to that.
Do you mind disclosing the location of that?
Cleveland High School.
Cleveland High School.
Dr. Renfro.
Mr. Chairman, this time I ask that we re-enter into executive session for the purpose of consulting with the board attorney and to discuss personnel items in accordance to North Carolina General Statutes 115C-319 and 143.318.11, subsections A1 and A3.
Entertain a motion. Motion by Ronald Johnston, second by Dr. Smith. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank everyone for coming.